All right, and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another live Google Hangouts here on my channel. And joining me today is my good friend TommieCB, who I haven't been able to do a video collaboration with for a while because we've been busy with work and everything. But he's here today. Tommy, thanks again for joining me. How you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for having me as always.
Of course, my pleasure. So today we'll be sharing with you guys our Survivor Series 2016 predictions. Of course, Survivor Series is this Sunday live on the WWE Network. And overall, going into this show, I'm interested in the card. I think that with the right amount of time, this can be a good to great show, like I've always said in the past. But I am looking forward to the Raw versus SmackDown matches this year. I personally think they should have saved these matches for next year. Give this a little better build because if you remember, Tommy, the very first time they did Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series, it was 3 years after the brand split had started in 2005. So I'm still looking forward to the pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to the Raw versus SmackDown matches. I just feel like if they built up to this some more and then it happened next year, it'd have a more special feel to it because this is brand supremacy on the line. But what are your thoughts about the show overall going into Sunday?
I like the card here. Of course, everyone's anticipating Brock and Goldberg. That's what I'm looking forward to. And, of course, some of the split matches.
Yeah. So I hope this show delivers. That's all I'm going to say because, the SmackDown brand has been delivering with their pay-per-views, and I was personally at No Mercy. That was a great experience. Raw's pay-per-views have been very lackluster. I've been very frustrated with those pay-per-views. So it is Raw and SmackDown coming together. So I'm hoping that this show overall, because I thought SummerSlam was a good show, but I thought it was disappointing at 4 hours. And speaking of 4 hours, Tommy, I want to get your thoughts on Survivor Series now going 4 hours. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I've said personally that I think the big four pay-per-views should be 4 hours if you treat them like they're big four pay-per-views.
Yeah.
We notice over the last, decade that some of these pay-per-views, mainly Survivor Series, has been treated like just another show, and it doesn't have the prestige like it would have a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I've said personally that the big four should be 4 hours, and I believe I think they just announced that the Rumble was going to be 4 hours, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. As that you could look that up for me. But yeah, if you treat the big four like they're big four pay-per-views and build them up, I think you can look past the fact that it's 4 hours as long as you keep it, constant and keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me personally, okay, WrestleMania, that should be 4 hours because that, of course, is that's WWE's Super Bowl of pro wrestling. When SummerSlam went 4 hours last year, I thought, okay, let's see how this works. Maybe they're gonna do something big, and I felt like it just fell flat. And then this year's SummerSlam, I really thought 4 hours was gonna benefit the show because of all the stacked matches, and once again, it didn't work. So me personally, I think I think you have a great argument why the big four pay-per-views should be 4 hours. Me personally, I just think really WrestleMania should be 4 hours because if you're not going to use the time wisely, then the show is going to feel like a drag. And with only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with only 6 matches on the card and 3 elimination matches in those 6, they better use the 4 hours wisely. So.
Well, with the elimination matches, you're probably looking at about maybe a good 30 minutes each, and then you have to imagine they'll give Brock and Goldberg about 20 minutes, and yeah. I think the main event will probably get a good 45 minutes at best. So yeah. I think with 6 matches, you kind of can play in your mind how each match is going to go duration, but again, you don't want it to be a drag. So
again, yeah. All right, so let's get down to our predictions. Let's start off with the championship matches first. First up, we have Cruiserweight Champion, the Brian Kendrick, defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Kalisto, with the stipulation that if Kalisto wins, he brings the title and the Cruiserweight Division to SmackDown. It becomes exclusive to SmackDown Live. Tommy, what's your prediction for this match, and what are your thoughts?
I think personally, Cruiserweight should have been on SmackDown from the start. So I'm going to take Kalisto.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kalisto. I really hope he wins and brings the title to SmackDown. You know, when the Cruiserweights first debuted on Raw, when it was Cedric versus Rich Swann versus Grand Metalik versus Brian Kendrick, that was a great match because it really showcased who they were. But since then, they've been watered down on Raw. And, you know, what made the Cruiserweight Classic so special was the different styles of matches. It felt like sort of like an Olympic tournament with all these different styles, you know, and that's what made the Cruiserweight stand out. And, you know, my friend Daniel, guys and I have said that Cruiserweights don't always have to be high flyers. You could have someone like a Zack Sabre Jr., who's a technical wizard, because, like, when you look at Dean Malenko back in WCW, he was more of a technician and a submission specialist than a high flyer. But still, the Cruiserweight matches don't feel the same like they did on the Cruiserweight Classic. So that's why I'm personally hoping Kalisto wins the match, brings the Cruiserweights to SmackDown, especially with 205 Live being right after SmackDown on Tuesday nights on the WWE Network.
Well, let me ask you this. What difference would you have felt if, say, Kota Ibushi would have signed with WWE?
I don't know, because that's a guy you really can't screw around with. You know, he has a huge fan following. He's one guy that you have to make him, like with Finn Balor. You can't, you know, screw up with Finn Balor or you're going to get a lot of backlash. So I think for Ibushi not signing with WWE, I'm fine with that. But still, with guys like TJ Perkins, who, you know, had that underdog story and ultimately won the Cruiserweight Classic, beating Ibushi in the semis and Grand Metalik in the finals, like, that's a guy you want to use because he wasn't really used properly in TNA. He's a hell of a wrestler. I think he's a little bit of a dark horse, but he hasn't really been used properly on Raw. Yeah, he's had some good matches, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel like the same TJ Perkins that, you know, had that, I don't want to say Cinderella story, but, you know, made us all root for him like the underdog going into the finals of the Classic. So with Ibushi, I think it was a good thing he didn't sign, because I'm just afraid they wouldn't use him properly. You know what I mean?
And one thing I want to add is one positive thing about that is he can go back to New Japan, where he's, you know, he's had great matches, of course, just a couple years ago, him and Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. And I still feel like one guy that I would love to see him go against is Kenny Omega. And I hate to talk about New Japan. I really hope Omega does win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But to go back on topic here, but yeah, I agree with what you said about Ibushi. Yeah,
definitely. You know what, real quick, before we get on to the next match, I would love if Ibushi signed like a one or two appearance deal for like WrestleMania, and you did like Ibushi versus Hideo Itami or Ibushi versus AJ Styles. Like, I would love for that to happen. You know, that'd be huge for him to be on a WrestleMania against any Cruiserweight. Maybe him and Cedric in a rematch. That'd be awesome.
Or maybe him and Nakamura again.
Yeah, that would definitely be awesome. So we'll see. But, you know, I'm happy that Ibushi did what he did. You know, he stated his own personal reasons. So we're both picking Kalisto, however, getting back on topic, to win the Cruiserweight Championship. I think this should be a really good match. Hopefully Kalisto won't botch anything like he did on SmackDown. I've always felt Kalisto is underrated. I feel like he could be the next big lucha star in WWE if pushed properly. So hopefully a Cruiserweight Championship win will be his like platform to launch him to bigger and better things. All right. Next, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. Sami Zayn challenging not Dolph Ziggler, but The Miz. Tommy, real quick, I want to ask you, what did you think of The Miz getting the Intercontinental Championship back on SmackDown Tuesday night?
Well, I'm on the majority of everybody who felt Miz should not have lost the title from the start. I mean, I'm not sure if you watched James's video a couple months ago where he talked about Miz, should he have broken the Honky Tonk Man's record. I think he was the kind of guy that could have done that, but I think one other possibility I was exploring was maybe him losing it in a similar fashion how Honky lost it to Warrior. Maybe have Samoa Joe debut and take it from him. But yeah, but to go back to what I'm saying, I think Miz should not have lost the title from the start.
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing with, like, I totally agree. I think he should have held on to the championship. Like, I was there live at No Mercy, and Ziggler, it was like a pro Ziggler crowd in Sacramento. So the pop he got when he won the championship and everybody celebrating with him, like I wasn't going to complain about that. That was a great feel-good moment. But I do agree that he shouldn't have lost the championship because I feel like his 5th reign was his best reign as Intercontinental Champion. He was really putting in a lot of hard work and effort. Like you said, you know, he's very underrated, and it took WWE quite a long time to realize his potential and everything. So yeah, he probably shouldn't have lost the championship to to Ziggler at No Mercy. Now that begs this question: is he gonna hold on to the championship, or did they just give it to him so that Sami Zayn could beat him for the championship at Survivor Series?
Well, that's a very interesting thought, because now let's say Sami does win and he brings the IC title back to Raw. Now you have the Universal Championship, and 2 mid-card titles. So that means, does Roman have to drop the US title to somebody on SmackDown just to kind of bounce it back out? Or,
well,
again, it creates a great dilemma.
Yeah, because when this match was announced, I was like, okay, I want Sami Zayn to win, and then I want him to go to SmackDown, and you know, SmackDown keeps the Intercontinental Championship, and he's on SmackDown where they'll use him properly, because I'm still baffled to this day that he was on the pre-show. He was on the SummerSlam pre-show in a tag team match, and he was not in like a major match. He wasn't even in the Universal Championship match. Like, that still baffles me after he beat Kevin Owens in one of the best matches of the year. So if Sami was to win the Intercontinental Championship and then go to SmackDown Live and you know, wrestle there, I think he'd be a great Intercontinental Champion. I think he could hold on to that title until SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, WrestleMania. I think he'd do great things in the Intercontinental Championship, and they'll utilize him properly. And SmackDown needs some of that star power. So this one's kind of hard to predict, because if Miz wins, then he stays on SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship. If Sami Zayn wins, he's going to most likely go to Raw with the Intercontinental Championship, and Raw's going to have like they're going to have like 5 or 6 titles. But then again, there's a chance he may just say, screw it, sign with SmackDown, and the title remains there. So it's kind of tough to predict. Like, as a fan, I want Sami to win and just go to SmackDown. But then if I had to make a prediction, I'll probably, because this.
What's that? Okay. You there?
Yeah. Sorry, man.
What?
My connection dropped. Sorry about that, guys. We had a little problem with the connection, and our stream died out for a moment. But anyway, like I was saying, Tommy, my prediction is The Miz to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
Sami Zayn.
Okay. So he's going with Sami. I'm going with The Miz. But of course, like I said, I want Sami Zayn to win the championship and then go to SmackDown. I think he did great things on SmackDown as Intercontinental Champion. You know, I thought the whole idea of him beating Kevin Owens was to keep him and Owens away from each other. But again, they were on Raw. So, like I said, I would love for Sami to win, and I will be rooting for him. But prediction-wise, I'm going to go with The Miz. But I hope we do get to see Dolph Ziggler versus Sami Zayn one day. I honestly thought it would have been a barn burner had it happened Sunday. face versus face. That would have been, I don't know. I don't know if they changed it to The Miz because they wanted Sami Zayn to get a full face reaction. But, hey, Ziggler and Zayn would have put on a hell of a match. So that's just my thoughts. All right. So moving on now to the Raw versus SmackDown elimination matches. First up, we have the 10-team elimination match. Team Raw, which is the New Day, Enzo and Big Cass, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson, a.k.a. Guns and Gallows, Cesaro and Sheamus, and the Shining Stars going up against Team SmackDown, which is Beauty and the Man Beast, American Alpha, the Usos, the Hype Bros, and Breezango, now known as the Fashion Police. Honestly, Tommy, I think this match is going to be a little bit of a clusterfuck because of all the talent in it. If it was like New Day, Enzo and Cass, and Guns and Gallows versus Beauty and the Man Beast, American Alpha, and the Usos, I think that'd be better because it would be 12 men instead of 20 men. I don't think it'd be as scrambled and whatnot. But what are your thoughts on this match, and which team do you see coming out? Which team do you see winning, and like which brand do you see winning, and which team do you see as the sole survivors?
Well, first, let me say it must feel good to just say Guns and Gallows because it's just easier to say, don't you think?
Yeah, I like how you mentioned Guns and Gallows. So I like how you mentioned it in our last live stream. So I like that name. But they won't use it, of course, in WWE. So.
Well, the thing about these elimination brand split matches is, you know that it's going to be one of those it's going to be like, okay, how many did you say there were? Like 3 or 4, wasn't it?
There's 3 elimination matches. This one, the women's, and then what I call the All-Stars main event. Yeah,
so to kind of just fast forward through it, you know it's going to be like a 1-1 split, and then like the main elimination is going to be the proverbial rubber match. Whoever wins that is going to win the series, you could say. So
yeah.
I'll say Team Raw wins this one.
Yeah.
And the survivors will probably be maybe the New Day.
Yeah, either if Team Raw wins, I predict either the New Day or Guns and Gallows are the sole survivors, which I think it'd be more beneficial for Gallows and Anderson for them to be the sole survivors. Like, the thing is, I want to see the New Day actually get eliminated in this match, and then Guns and Gallows go on to win it for Team Raw if that's what happens. Because I feel like if there's any chance to really rebuild Anderson and Gallows, this would be the time. And then, of course, a roadblock, have them beat the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. I'm going to say this, though. I'm predicting that the first 2 teams that are going to get eliminated are going to be the Shining Stars and Breezango. Like, they're not going to last long.
I think you probably make an argument for the Vaudevillains. They're all Vaudevillains on the team, right?
What's up?
Are the Vaudevillains on that team?
No. It's only the Man Beast, American Alpha, the Usos, Hype Bros, and Breezango. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. So the Shining Stars and Breezango, they're gonna be the first 2 teams.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's such a big cluster. You don't know who's who. You're confused.
Yeah, I know, because some people thought Golden Truth was in this match. They're not. But if they were, they'd be like the first team eliminated. That's for sure. But anyway, as far as my prediction, because I really want SmackDown to win, but I think because Raw has the bigger star power in terms of teams, I'm going to go with Team Raw. But if Team SmackDown wins, I think the fitting sole survivor should be American Alpha or the Usos, because the Usos have been doing a killer job as heels. But I'm predicting Team Raw is going to win just because, I mean, they got the New Day, Enzo and Cass, Guns and Gallows. So, I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus, I still think that team is pointless. I see one of them inadvertently costing the other. Shining Stars, they're going to get eliminated real quick, so don't even bother. And then on the SmackDown side, Beauty and the Man Beast are a good team. Hype Bros, they'll be in there for a little bit. Breezango, like I said, they'll get eliminated quickly. Honestly, Tyler Breeze should just go on his own. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Team Raw to win. I would love for SmackDown to sweep the elimination matches, but when you look at it, if I had to be like realistic, probably Team Raw would win the elimination match.
Okay.
All right. So moving on to the next elimination match, it is the women's 5-on-5 Raw versus SmackDown match. On Team Raw, you have Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox, with Coach Dana Brooke in their corner, going up against Team SmackDown. Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Naomi with Coach Natalya in their corner. Now, when Natalya was announced as the coach, I was like, ah, shit, she's going to inadvertently cost Team SmackDown the match. But now they've added Dana Brooke as Team Raw's coach, so we may see some interactions between the coaches. But as far as a prediction, okay, these teams are very interesting because Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte. Okay, Sasha and Bayley have a little beef with Charlotte. Alicia Fox and Nia Jax, even though they wrestled like 2 months ago, they had some problems. Nikki Bella and Carmella don't get along. Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss still have unfinished business. And then there's Naomi. So this one's a little hard to predict too. But I think if Raw's going to win the tag match, then I'm going to go with the SmackDown to win the women's match. I don't know if it's going to come down to like one of the coaches making a mistake, or if like the bad blood between Charlotte and Sasha costs them, or if the bad blood between Nikki and Carmella or Becky and Alexa ends up costing them the match. So what are your thoughts on this match, Tommy?
One early thing I want to ask is this Diesel Survivor Series moment.
With who?
Does Nia Jax get that 94 Survivor Series Diesel moment where I think Diesel eliminated like what 3 guys in a row or something, or like what Roman Reigns did a couple years back?
Maybe if WWE is really high on Nia Jax, they'll give her like 2 or 3 eliminations, and she may eliminate like Carmella, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss, maybe. That just kind of stir the pot a little bit. But if Team Raw was to win, I think because she was referred to as a weak link and everything, and I think this would be a great way to try to help her gain momentum. I think if Raw was to win, I see Bayley being one of the sole survivors, or the sole survivor for her team.
Yeah, I can see that. So I'm picking Team Raw to win the tag team. I'm gonna pick Team SmackDown ladies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Team SmackDown. I think if there's going to be a sole survivor for SmackDown, and it'll be Nikki Bella or Becky Lynch, or if they really want to stir it up, I'd have Alexa Bliss be the sole survivor. So then if she gets a rematch with Becky Lynch, well, she's going to get a rematch, obviously. Then she could use that momentum going into their rematch at, I think, TLC. It's going to happen. And yeah, the coaches are probably going to have some kind of interaction. This should be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Bayley fight Carmella. It's going to be a Baymella reunion in this match. But yeah, this should be a good women's match. I hope this gets the right amount of time. But like I said, my prediction will be Team SmackDown, the Team SmackDown ladies to win. And now we move on to the big Raw vs. SmackDown 5-on-5 elimination match, the All-Stars match, as I like to call it. Team Raw, Jericho, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman going up against Team SmackDown. AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton with team mascot James Ellsworth in their corner. What do you think about this match, Tommy?
Personally, I think I would have probably put Kane in Shane's spot. I mean, just you know what I mean. Or I even said as a joke they was gonna probably put Ellsworth in that spot.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't.
Well,
so
yeah. I was talking to Daniel about, like, we were doing Survivor Series fantasy booking, and we were talking about this match, and I said I want James Ellsworth to be like the SmackDown flag bearer or something. I didn't say mascot, but when I found out he was gonna be the mascot, I was like, perfect. Like, that's perfect. But I was really hoping Undertaker would have been a part of Team SmackDown, especially after his little pep talk on Tuesday, which I thought was the best segment of the show for SmackDown 900. That was awesome. How Taker said, you know, you don't have to fear, you have nothing to fear with regards to failure. But if you guys fail to beat Team Raw, then you're gonna have to fear the dead man. I thought that was awesome. Now I was listening to NoDQ.com yesterday, and some people were talking about the possibility of, based on what Taker said, if Team SmackDown loses and like AJ takes the final, he's the one that gets pinned in the deciding fall. If Taker comes after him based on what he said at on SmackDown, could you see that happening? Tommy, or could you see somebody else falling and then Taker coming after them? How do you see that playing out?
Well, I read the same thing, and I don't want to see AJ drop the title to Undertaker. I want AJ to hold the belt till WrestleMania. So maybe it'll I guess it'll be I don't now I'm confused now, but if it is Undertaker and AJ, I hope that they let AJ continue to be the champion.
Yeah. You know, what my dream scenario would be is for AJ to stay champion until WrestleMania. Nakamura debuts. This is bold, but Nakamura debuts at the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, goes to SmackDown and challenges AJ for the championship at WrestleMania. That's my dream scenario right there. See,
the problem with that is you're going to have the people that don't know who Nakamura is, other than guys like you and myself who do watch New Japan. You have people that don't watch it, or people that watch it but hate it because there's no characters, there's none of that. But, you know, I think Nakamura, though, has charisma, but again, you're going to have those masses that find him overrated. And again, I'm not saying what you're saying is not right, but I like it. But the thing is, Nakamura more than likely is going to hold on to that. The reality is Nakamura is going to probably remain NXT champion until the takeover during Mania weekend.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up losing it to Bobby Roode or whoever. But I'm not saying your idea is bad, but it's just you got those out there that just, you know, they wouldn't like a guy like Nakamura because he's not the stereotypical. He doesn't have that larger than life look.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So when you look at these teams, Tommy, these are pretty stacked teams. These are all-star teams, you know. So that's why this match is really hard to predict. But do you see James Ellsworth as a team mascot somehow causing either Team SmackDown to win or them to lose by some kind of inadvertent distraction?
I think midway through the match he'll get maybe Dean Ambrose disqualified and he'll get ejected in the process. Yeah. Or if there's like a spot where the referee's knocked down, Ellsworth does his super kick. Maybe I think it'll come down to like Roman Reigns and maybe I think we're going to get some type of Shield finale. Yeah. Whether it's Seth Rollins versus Ambrose or Roman versus Ambrose. I think we're going to get some type of Shield finale. But I'm not ruling out the possibility of AJ Styles being in there, you know. Yeah. Because I think, you know, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just agreeing with what you say. I think that's a great scenario. One thing I like to see is if it comes down to the two champions, if it comes down to Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, because the Lex Man brought this up, and Kevin Owens has had AJ Styles' number for a little while. Think about it. He eliminated him from the Royal Rumble match. Then he beat him, I think, what was it, like the night after Extreme Rules? To set up for Money in the Bank. It was like a
SmackDown, like before WrestleMania on SmackDown. Jericho had before the brand split.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, so I think if AJ Styles wins it for his team, he should eliminate Kevin Owens, and that would be the big one up he gets on Kevin Owens, you know, because that'd be like a vindication and redemption for the fact that Owens has had his number for multiple times this year. But I could see Ellsworth inadvertently getting maybe Ambrose eliminated or AJ eliminated. So who do you pick to win ultimately in this match, Tommy?
I think Team Raw wins. I think Roman Reigns will be the sole survivor.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But here's a question. Since we're talking about Ellsworth, what if Ellsworth actually gets sent as like a replacement? Like
that would be interesting because you know Ellsworth is such an over character on SmackDown. It would be interesting to see if he actually got inserted into the match. I mean, I don't know how long he'd last. But I mean, if he was to hit no chin music on somebody, like say he hits it on Chris,
I think if he hits it on Roman Reigns, Toronto will pop though.
He will. That crowd will go insane if he hits Roman Reigns with no chin music, and that leads to Roman's elimination. That crowd will cheer like crazy. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, Tommy, is, you know, the one thing that like baffled me was for like 2 weeks, Team Raw was fighting each other constantly. Like there was the Fatal 5-Way, which I thought was totally pointless. And then they had another match or something. I don't get it, but I think that just shows you how kind of flustered and messed up Raw is. That, you know, yes, Team SmackDown did a tag team match where it was Ambrose and Ellsworth and Kane against Corbin, Wyatt, and Orton. But Raw did it like 2-3 weeks in a row where their teams were fighting each other, especially the All-Stars team and the women's team. I was baffled by that, but I think that just goes to show that Raw is just a mess right now. They you know, the writing is off point. What were your thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I didn't. These last couple of weeks, the Raw side of building up for Survivor Series has not been great.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go with Team SmackDown. I hope Team SmackDown wins. I got a feeling Ellsworth, one way or another, is gonna play the difference maker. He's gonna play some kind of influential role in this match. I don't know if they're gonna do the stipulation where the winning brand gets 2 or 3 draft picks. I would personally like to see that happen because SmackDown does need some star power. They haven't announced it. They may announce it at the start of the show or something. But if that is the case, I want SmackDown to win 2 out of the 3 matches because I feel like they really need the star power. Now, one more thing we're going to talk about real quick before we get to Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, and this was something that Tommy and I wanted to do a video on. We didn't get the time, but we're going to talk about it because we feel like it could have played a role in Survivor Series. Now, it's been like, what, 2 months pretty much since Owens won the championship with help from Triple H. And I really feel like WWE had something big there, and they never capitalized. You know, you had a huge opportunity, and you never capitalized on it. And what Tommy and I were thinking about was him helping Owens, because Owens was one of the top guys on NXT, could have led to this big like Triple H NXT takeover or invasion angle, whatever you want to call it, that could have culminated in a Team Rollins versus Team Triple H match. And Tommy, what would you have liked to have seen out of that had they gone forward with the Triple H Kevin Owens partnership and everything?
I think one of the things that I was thinking was a temporary Shield reunion. I mean, assuming if it's Team Raw, he's gonna pick stars from Raw and SmackDown. So easily Ambrose and Reigns are pretty much 2 guys you're gonna put by his side, and then I'm not sure like who would be the other 2 guys you put in there.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, Rollins. I think Shield would easily is those 3 guys you put. If 2 other guys you could probably. Who would be 2 guys you put in there?
So I was thinking about this last night. If Triple H was, you know, if he was banding together the NXT talent that he feels is underappreciated or totally underutilized or just, you know, pushed to the side, I'd have him put his team. I'd have it be Kevin Owens, Rusev, Neville, Big E, and Bo Dallas against Team Rollins, which would be Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I'd probably throw in Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, and then because he has morals and he just can't see himself aligning with Kevin Owens for the wrong reasons, I throw in Sami Zayn as well.
So you do 5-on-5?
Yeah, and then I would have it to where some kind of screwy finish happens, and you know, Triple H screws Seth Rollins again, and Team Triple H / NXT wins. And then, like, I don't know if Triple H would probably be a tweener in this program, but it would ultimately keep building up toward Triple H versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, because I feel like they could have kept doing big things with how everything played out following Owens winning the Universal Championship, but they just never did it. And I think Survivor Series would have been a great launching point for Triple H versus Seth Rollins.
Okay, so when we talked about this a while back, let's assume that Are we going to go with maybe a healthy Finn Balor? Or are we going to use off basic current events?
You know what I think to really make it interesting? When Balor comes back, I would have him align himself with Triple H and the NXT Renegades. And then, even though they weren't in NXT, you could have Gallows and Anderson unite with Balor, and then that's a pretty dominant faction right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, if they ever come cross paths with AJ, they could assault AJ, and then AJ could, you know, join Seth in his fight. And then down the line, you do like AJ versus Balor at WrestleMania, and then have the Shield reunite and have them fight Gallows, Anderson, and if they were to get like Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks or Bad Luck Fale, I mean, that's a huge 6-man tag team match right there.
Well, if we're going to do Team Rollins versus Team Triple H, and you said AJ Styles, here's a crazy thought. What about Cena comes back and says, I said the future goes through me, and it still goes through me. But you know, he can say, hey, I realize that these guys right here, you know, they've proven themselves, and we all don't see eye to eye, but I'll fight with these guys for a common purpose. You know what I mean?
Him joining like Team Rollins or Team WWE.
Or like, yeah, Team Rollins, like have be Cena, Rollins, AJ, Roman, and Dean, and then again. Yeah. But then you kind of make it seem, but you don't want to take it. You don't want to take this. You don't want to take the rug underneath Seth's you know, feet, because you know it's even though and Cena says this is a one-time only thing, and then once he's done with this, he goes to whatever he's doing, and then maybe you kind of start building up towards him and Undertaker, you know, at a later time. So
yeah,
this is like a one-time deal for Cena.
Yeah, definitely, I like that.
He hates, even because Triple H is still technically quote unquote the authority. So it's like Cena's like, I'm only doing this because I hate the authority. I hate Triple H, and
yeah,
you know, you guys need a fifth partner. So
yeah, I like that. I really like that idea. So those are just little ideas we've thrown out, guys. About if they had continued the Seth Rollins Triple H feud, they kept going with it, we could see a Team Rollins, Team Triple H battle at SummerSlam, which, you know, Team Triple H would have been like his NXT Renegades. I think that would have been a great angle. And you know, yeah, it's a great. What's up?
Here's another. Since we're on that thought, what about maybe the women NXT versus like the quote unquote total divas? You know, you have Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, and Becky.
Yeah.
And like maybe who, like I guess Paige kind of, you know, they go after Paige because she sold out. She became a total diva. She's not. Charlotte, you're not the same Paige we saw on NXT. You're on Total Divas. You're doing all this, so you kind of make it. And I think you can put Dana Brooke as the fifth person. So you have like those 5 girls against maybe, you know, Nikki Bella, Natty, Naomi, and you know, Paige and whoever. That just came to mind since you're talking about the Team Ross versus Team Triple H.
Yeah, that's definitely a great idea. I'd definitely be down to see that, or have Emma be on Team NXT, because, you know, the whole Emma-Lena transformation, which I'm still not a fan of, because she's just stay, you know, as badass as she was. But yeah, that's definitely a great idea. It could have happened. Mm-hmm. I just wish WWE would have, you know, moved forward, pull the trigger with the whole Triple H, Kevin Owens, you know, partnership, whatever, because where's the payoff in that? Other than Owens becoming champion, like they had something big there and they never capitalized on it. So
I think that's probably something we'll see during Mania season. Like you'll finally get answers.
All right. Yep. All right. So great ideas, Tommy. That was great. You know, felt great talking about that. So let's move on to what's probably going to be the main event of this card. Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. This is the rematch, 12 years in the making, and it's built. Fantasy warfare just got real. Tommy, are you excited for this match, or do you have certain reservations for this match? What are your thoughts?
I mean, to me, my thing is everyone's crying about wanting new stars, and then like I've said this, and I don't know what kind of stuff I'm going to get. I've said you can't move forward without going back. You know,
Yeah.
My thing is WWE relying on past superstars to keep the product going. And it's like, I understand people don't like Finn Balor. They don't like the Finn Balors, the Sami Zayns, but these guys are the guys that can keep going, can keep the company going. But it's like, okay, we have to rely on Brock, we have to rely on Taker, we have to rely on Goldberg and whatnot.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying about sometimes to move forward, you got to maybe take a step backward. I have no problem with WWE bringing in, you know, guys like Brock, Goldberg, Undertaker every once in a while because, I mean, they are major names in the business, name stays, whatever. Me, you know, when I found out about Goldberg being in 2K17 as the pre-order, I thought I wasn't all excited for it. I was like, you know, Goldberg's one of my favorites from when I was a kid. So I thought it was, you know, it's cool when you can play as Goldberg, but I wasn't like too hyped for it. And then there was a speculation about him fighting Brock when you see the Suplex City sign reflect in the cop car mirror or window, and then of course Goldberg said what he said on ESPN about fighting Brock and everything led up to this. So all I want from this match is them just to go out there and fight, not to do the same match they had last year. But let's be real. The reason that the match they had at WrestleMania 20 in 2004 was the way it was because they were both leaving. They didn't give a fuck. So they just said, screw it. So they just went out there and gave us a very shitty match. I just hope they can redeem themselves in a sense and give us a much better match. I really feel like this should be no holds barred or no disqualification, a street fight stipulation where they can just beat the hell out of each other. I just want a good fight. That's it, to make up for what happened in 2004. And now I want to ask you, Tommy, do you see Shane McMahon maybe playing a role in this match considering what happened with him and Brock at SummerSlam?
That's a possibility. Either we get that or we get basically Hogan Warrior WCW where Hogan has to get his win back because fuck logic.
Yeah. It's, you know, for this one's a little hard for me to predict too because, like, the way I'm seeing it is either Brock goes out there and he gets his win back because Goldberg really doesn't need many wins, or Goldberg beats Brock again and Brock has that little black mark on his career that, you know, he beat Undertaker, he broke the streak, he conquered John Cena, he conquered, you know, Dean Ambrose and everybody else he's conquered, but he just couldn't conquer Goldberg. That's the one black mark that's going to stay on his record forever. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's kind of hard to predict. But, I mean, I think Goldberg mainly did this because, you know, he wanted his wife and his child to see him wrestle once in person, whatever. So I don't really think he has more to gain from winning because he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. So I think I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar. If Brock loses, I predict it's going to be because Shane McMahon interferes. And I meant to ask you this, Tommy. If Team Raw wins, do you see Brock, like, laying out Shane in the match?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Yeah. Well, what I was thinking was what would probably make more sense is if Shane interferes and lays out Brock and allows Goldberg to win, and then Brock tries to hunt Shane down, and you can start building toward their match at Royal Rumble or Mania. Because why would unless Brock got screwed over by Shane, why would he just run out during the Team Raw Team SmackDown match and just F5 Shane? Like, what's the logic there?
I think that goes back to what I said about the James Ellsworth thing. I think now we can kind of put that together. You have Shane, you know, get taken out by Brock, and then Ellsworth kind of inserts himself he voluntarily inserts himself into that particular match, and then Brock just, you know, I guess beats Shane down on the way, and Shane's is unable to compete. So
yeah,
it can bring it to full circle.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so what is your prediction, Tommy, for this match?
I'll say Goldberg here, just Goldberg through a screwy finish.
Yeah. All right. And anything else you expect from this match? Anything special you'd like to see? Just, you know, to throw it out there.
I just hope I'm like you. I want a good. I just want to. I want. I want the stuff to be made up from 2004. I want this to be better than what we saw 12 years ago.
Definitely. All right, so that'll do it for Survivor Series 2016 predictions. To recap, we're both picking Kalisto to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Tommie's picking Sami Zayn to win the Intercontinental Championship. I'm picking Miz to retain the Intercontinental Championship. We both picked Team Raw to win the Tag Team Elimination match. Tommy goes with, we both go with Team SmackDown to win the Women's Survivor Series Elimination match. Tommy's picking Team Raw to win the All-Stars Elimination match. I'm picking Team SmackDown. And I pick Brock Lesnar to beat Goldberg, and Tommy picks Goldberg to beat Brock Lesnar. Now, since I was unable to film NXT TakeOver Toronto predictions on my channel due to my webcam not working properly, Tommy and I are going to just take about 10 minutes real quick to go through the card and give you guys our predictions. Now, we may get a 6-woman tag team match based on what happened on NXT. It'll be Ember Moon. If it happens, it'll be Ember Moon, Liv Morgan, and Aaliyah, who's from Toronto, versus Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and a partner of their choosing. If this match happens, I'm picking Ember Moon's team to win. I think the cool mystery partner for Billie Kay and Peyton Royce would be Nikki Cross from Sanity. I'd like to see her and Ember Moon mix it up, but I think Ember Moon's team will win because it'll be like vindication for Liv and Aaliyah following the double team they've suffered at the hands of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. What's your thoughts on that match if it happens, Tommy? And what's your prediction?
I'm with you. I'll be honest. I haven't watched NXT in a while, so I'm kind of unfamiliar with these people. Yeah. So I'll take your word for it. I'm gonna take your side on this one.
Okay. As far as confirmed matches are, we have Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger. I think this would be a glorious opener if it was the first match. This should be a great match, and I am picking Bobby Roode to win because I think, well, I won't rule out a Ty Dillinger victory because I think Ty Dillinger is a very good underrated worker. It's in Canada. They're both proud Canadians, so this is going to feel like a great homecoming to them. But my prediction is going to be Bobby Roode because I feel like NXT is really going to push Bobby Roode to that main event scene as fast as they can. He's over with the crowd. His glorious gimmick is awesome. He's a great classic heel. Like I said, I don't rule out a Ty Dillinger victory, but I see Bobby Roode ultimately getting the win in this match. What are your thoughts, Tommy?
I'm taking Bobby Roode as well.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. TM61 versus the Authors of Pain, and the stipulation that was added recently is that Paul Ellering will be suspended above the ring in a shark cage. This one's a little hard. This match and the Tag Team Championship match, Tommy, are hard for me to predict. So I'm going to go with you first. What are your thoughts on this match, and who do you see winning the tournament?
It's funny because I still call TM61 TMDK. So
the Mighty Don't Kneel.
What's that?
The Mighty Don't Kneel, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take TM61 to win because when they came to NXT and me watching them a few times in New Japan, I did like what I saw, and I felt they should have been the ones to challenge the Revival at TakeOver Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They win the Dusty Classic here. That's just my pick.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of hard for me to make this prediction. I've been going back and forth because Authors of Pain, they've been monsters since they debuted at NXT TakeOver The End. They're undefeated. I saw them in person at NXT San Jose against Rich Swann and No Way Jose. I thought they had a good, fun tag team match. I could see the Authors of Pain winning this match. I could see NXT really wanting to push them as the big monster heel team, like the Ascension in a sense, like that dominant tag team. But then again, TM61, I feel like they have a little more to gain because they actually lost to the Authors of Pain. So Authors of Pain actually have like an advantage of sorts over TM61. But with regards to a prediction, I think I'm going to go with TM61 to pull off the upset. I don't want to say upset victory, but I'm going to go with them to find a way to finally beat the Authors of Pain. I don't know what Ellering's going to do, suspended above the cage, if he's going to find a way to get lowered down and interfere. I mean, I could see TM61 winning and then them getting their hands on Ellering and the Authors of Pain, like, just beating him down and like breaking the trophy or whatnot. But I'm going to go with TM61. I don't rule out the Authors of Pain winning, though. But I think I'm going to go with TM61. I like that this year a new young team is going to win the tournament. Balor and Joe, I was fine with them winning last year, although I thought Gable and Jordan were going to win it, and I thought they could have really benefited from it. But, of course, it led to Balor and Joe at the TakeOver, the 2 TakeOver specials following respect. But I'm going to go with TM61 to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Okay.
Right. Next up, we have the 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. The Revival, the top guys, defending against #DIY. They had a great match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn too. And if you saw the match that Revival had, 2 out of 3 falls match they had with American Alpha for the Tag Team Championships, that was a fantastic tag team match, one of the best tag team matches I've seen recently. So I'm going to call it right now. This is probably going to be the match of the night. This is going to be just one hell of a tag team clinic. And this one's hard for me to predict because part of me thinks #DIY is going to win the tag team championships finally. But then there's a part of me that thinks Revival is going to retain. And then it's going to finally lead to Tommaso Ciampa turning on Johnny Gargano and setting up their feud. So what are your thoughts on this feud, Tommy, and who do you predict will win come Saturday?
Well, I read about that and I was like, what's the backstory behind Ciampa and Gargano? Like, why are they teasing a heel turn?
I think because the whole gimmick with Ciampa is he's a psycho killer. He can snap at any time. And I think now having, like, if it happens, Gargano will have – Ciampa will have lost to Gargano, and then he would have lost along with Gargano in the tag team title match. So this could have been like their last chance, and it just finally all the rage builds up, and Ciampa just goes after and obliterates Gargano. So –
but I like the Glorious Bomb videos. I don't want them to break up.
No, I love the Glorious Bomb videos too. Those are great. I love DIY. They're a great tag team. I don't know. Like, I think for the sake of them not splitting up, I'm going to predict DIY wins the NXT Tag Team Championships, and then maybe they beat the Revival again, and then Revival gets called up, hopefully to SmackDown, to the main roster. And then we do TM61 versus #DIY, because it doesn't have to necessarily be face team versus heel team. You could do face versus face, and then TM61 lose. Maybe they get a rematch, they lose again, but this time, they, even though they lose, they try to maybe use a heel tactic or something to win, and then finally they just turn on Gargano and Ciampa.
I think DIY will win, and then they'll probably drop the titles to Sanity.
Okay.
And then maybe the Sanity versus TM61.
Yeah, or TM61 against Authors of Pain again. Keep that feud going. The tag team division is strong in NXT. There's a few strong tag teams, so it's going to be interesting. But you're picking DIY, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm picking them as well to win the tag team championships. Next, we have the NXT Women's Championship match. Asuka defending against Mickie James. This one is really the easiest match to predict on this card because Mickie James is not going to win the NXT Women's Championship. So, obviously, I'm picking Asuka. But I'm expecting this to be a great match. I'm happy to see Mickie back. She was always one of my favorites in WWE before she departed. I saw some of her work in TNA. I met Mickie in person. She's a really cool, very nice person. So, I'm happy to see her back. Should be a great match. But, I do feel like other than Ember Moon, the NXT Women's Division does need some more stars because you can see that by having to reach out to an outsider like Mickie James, and I'm not trying to use outsider in a negative way. I'm just saying by reaching out to her like that outside of WWE and NXT, you can see how the current state of NXT's Women's Division. So, Tommy, what are your thoughts going into this match?
Again, I love Mickie. She's one of my favorites. I've seen Mickie in person. great woman. Of course, Asuka's gonna win this one, and I think you save Asuka and Ember Moon for the Takeover WrestleMania weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and again, this is a reach going to get Mickey. Mickey's still in her prime. She's not necessarily old. I think me and her about the same age maybe, but as far as like who else could you see challenging Asuka? I mean, other than Ember Moon, I know that
honestly,
a little bit.
Ember Moon, or if they build her up between now and Takeover WrestleMania weekend, Nikki Cross, because Nikki Cross, I know her as Nikki Storm on the independent circuit in Japan for Stardom, so she's done good things. I mean, really, the only other challenger that I could see facing Asuka, if they want to like throw a real challenge at her, is if WWE was to get Awesome Kong back as Karma, and then they fight. But other than that, there's not really a credible threat to Asuka other than Ember Moon.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we're both picking Asuka on that. And finally, we get to the main event, the NXT Championship. The champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, defending against the challenger, Samoa Joe. I really enjoyed the build to this, especially Joe as this unstoppable heel. Like, him coming out for a couple weeks and him just laying out NXT guys and him basically telling Regal, him going, Regal, bring me Nakamura or bring me the NXT title. Like, I love it. He's a take no prisoners heel. He's been really getting under Regal's skin. I love it. How he laid out Nakamura was awesome. It's just been a great build-up. I wish this was last man standing or no holds barred. This warrants one of those stipulations. So Tommy, what are your thoughts on the feud and who's your prediction?
I think Nakamura will win.
Yeah, I think Nakamura will win as well. I think it's just a matter of time before Joe gets called up to the main roster. Like, probably debuts at the Royal Rumble and then makes his official main roster debut. And goes after, I don't know, the Intercontinental Championship or maybe U.S. Championship. I don't know, depending on where he's at. But I'm expecting this to be – I think this will be better than their TakeOver match. I thought their TakeOver Brooklyn match was great. Don't get me wrong. But I see Nakamura retaining. Maybe him and Joe will have one final match at the TakeOver. I don't know if the TakeOver shows in Japan, but maybe they'll have one more match Royal Rumble weekend, and then that's Joe's send off to like the main roster and his debut at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but as far as prediction, we're both going with Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, could you see real quick, Tommy? Could you see maybe Joe really unleashing a violent side of him and just beating down Nakamura, really just violently assaulting him to the point where they stop the match and Joe is re-awarded the championship?
I'm with you. Cause what would be the next possible takeover? Like, would it be WrestleMania weekend?
Well, I think they're gonna do one Royal Rumble weekend.
So you probably could do. If you're going to have Joe debut at the Royal Rumble, there's no point in him winning the NXT title back. Again, it's like if it comes down to him and Nakamura, I think Joe's definitely going to debut before Nakamura. So,
yeah,
I think it'd be pointless to have him win back the NXT title.
Yeah, but then again, there could be a chance. Like, if he wins the title, there could be a chance he doesn't debut at the Rumble. He doesn't debut until maybe after Mania. And then, I don't know, maybe you build Hideo Itami up to challenge him. Like, I'm not ruling out the possibility of Joe winning the title back because of how this mean streak he's unleashed recently. But I do see, like I said, I'm staying with my prediction of Nakamura retaining, because I think when I think it was Corey Graves or Tom Phillips said this rabid animal that's been unleashed to Nakamura, I think that's going to be the difference maker, and that's going to lead to Nakamura beating Joe. But I wouldn't rule out Joe winning, because I I'm just saying maybe that mean streak is what helps him like put a beating like on Nakamura to where they got to stop it, even though Nakamura wants to keep fighting. Like they stop it for his own health, his own safety. And Joe's awarded the championship, and then Nakamura just goes ballistic and wants one more rematch just to like prove, you know, just to get his redemption. But like I say, I'm sticking with my prediction of Nakamura retaining the championship.
Now that I think about it, you probably could do a last man standing match with Joe and Nakamura, because if you say, okay, Joe is the one blemish on Nakamura's NXT record, Nakamura redeems himself. So, but it'd be kind of predictable at that point.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, it should be a great match tomorrow night on the WWE Network. I'm always excited for the TakeOver specials. This should be a great show. So real quick to recap our predictions. We both picked Bobby Roode to beat Ty Dillinger. We both picked TM61 to beat the Authors of Pain. We both picked #DIY to win the NXT Tag Team Championships. We both picked Asuka to retain the Women's Championship. And we both picked Nakamura to retain the NXT Championship. So that'll do it for this video. Tommy, thanks again for joining me. I know this was a little while in the making, but it was fun. We do apologize for the lost connection earlier in the stream, but I'm happy that everything worked out. Everything is stabilized. So we hope you guys did enjoy this video. Tommy, if you want to get a shout out, if you want to get a plug for your social media, go right ahead.
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter. And if you're a fantasy football player, me and a friend of mine, we usually do fantasy football, you know, starts and sits. So, Robbie, I'm not sure if you get into all that. So we do videos from time to time. So
yeah, I've seen those.
If you do want, we'll check it. Just check us out.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks again for joining me, Tommy, and thanks again everybody for watching and listening. Leave your comments down below. What's up?
I don't mean to cut you off. Again, I'm not sure if I meant to tell you this, but myself and James and another guy, friend of ours, we did a quick little debate on Wrestler of the Year. Again, it's pretty much like we said, come down to, you know, AJ versus Matt Hardy, and you know, I my case for AJ, and I think that's something we need to kind of touch on, like once the end of the year gets like really like just get really into who we think is Wrestler of the Year. We need to really kind of get James in this whole thing, and maybe get a fourth part involved. We all could like just have great wrestler minds come together and talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be doing end of the year awards with Daniel Gaiza. But I'm definitely down to do a little like debate or whatever you want to call it. You, me, and James, you know, just sharing our opinions on why we think our respective wrestlers should win Wrestler of the Year. Like, you know, if I disagree with you, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I'm not going to like, you know, bash or anything. You know, I respect everyone's opinions. And like I said, if I disagree, I'm going to respectfully disagree. So that would be interesting. James, if you're watching this, hit us up, man. That'd be great just to discuss who we think is the Wrestler of the Year, why we think they deserve Wrestler of the Year. And yeah, that would definitely be something I'd be down to collaborate on.
Okay,
definitely. So again, like I was saying, everybody, leave your comments down below. Tell us what show you're most excited for. What are your predictions for Survivor Series and for TakeOver Toronto? You know, who do you think will be sole survivors? Who do you think? Well, do you think there'll be any big surprises, debuts, whatever? So leave it all down below. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. So he's TommieCB. I'm Robbie One Kenobi signing off. Everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy Survivor Series. Enjoy NXT Toronto, and enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday next week. And we'll catch y'all later.